Mr. Borden, there are many reasons why individuals and companies consider moving into a new community. 3 of the top reasons: safety, education, and local government that welcomes business growth. If you could add a 4th reason, what would that be?
Location, location, location. We're the small town touch and surrounded by big cities of Ann Arbor, Toledo. And why wouldn't they want to come here? We have nice parks, the safety is here, education, we have good schools. This is it, location.
Mr. Schreiber, there are many reasons why individuals and companies consider moving into a new community. 3 of the top reasons: safety, education, and local government welcoming business growth. If you could add a 4th reason, what would that be?
I think the 4th reason for me would be the environment and the overall climate within the community here. When you come here, you feel the sense of community. You see the small-time celebrations and festivals and activities that go on here, and I think that's great appeal. You also notice that people are for other people within this community and not just for themselves, and you don't see that everywhere. So I think environment and overall climate within the village is huge and a very important piece.
Mr. Polito, there are many reasons why individuals and companies consider moving into a new community. 3 of the top reasons: safety, education, and local government that welcomes business growth. If you could add a 4th reason, what would that be?
4th reason would be, and I think Brian touched on this, community events. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a member of DAVA, which puts on the Mayfly Festival. We're constantly working, trying to make that bigger and better. DDA is the other organization. We just undertook 2 new events this year. The first was Rockin' the Raisin, which was a music event, and then the second one was the Great Pumpkin Palooza, which we luckily picked up because John Harnica and his family decided not to do it anymore. So I think offering a variety of community events, Dave and I have spoken about this a lot. It's going to take a long time, but we want to have an event here that's like Appalachia in Tecumseh, that Dundee becomes a destination. So community events would be my answer.
Penny, there are many reasons why individuals and companies consider moving into a new community. 3 of the top reasons: safety, education, and local government that welcomes new business and business growth. If you could add a 4th reason, what would that be?
I would say activities and recreation, kind of expand on what Denny said. We have several parades, we have festivals, we have concerts, like he said, that we're trying to expand upon. We have parks. We just acquired a 4-acre park that we're trying to develop with activities for small children all the way up to seniors, with walking paths and dog parks and that type of thing. We have a farmer's market on the weekend. We have the senior center for seniors. And I think those are the types of things that a lot of people are looking for when they're looking to relocate into a community.
Next question. Dundee is a quaint community, mixing local charm with access to larger community amenities. Why do you continue to live in Dundee? Mr. Rohrback.
Because I grew up here and I love this town. I mean, it's a good town. Everybody, it's got everything here. We're not too far from anywhere, but we're just far enough away. We got lake here, we got big fishing. We got river racing for canoeing and fishing, wading. Just taking the canoe up the river. It's watch wildlife. It's just relaxing. It's great, and all the people here.
Mr. Reeves, Dundee is a quaint community, mixing local charm with access to larger community amenities. Why do you continue to live in Dundee?
Well, I've noticed that, there's been a lot more residences, a lot more businesses starting to come to Dundee, so with that, more amenities. But what truly has me in Dundee, wanting to stay in Dundee forever, is the atmosphere. I mean, truly, the way people have treated me these last 5 years. I haven't grown up here my whole life, but everybody's treated me like I have. So with that, I see the potential. I see the potential for, you know, the citizens and the government to roll with whatever punches come. So with that, that's the reason why I'm still here in Dundee. I'm not going to leave Dundee, and why I want to get back to Dundee, because just through kindness and generosity, a firm handshake, a nice smile makes me want to keep doing it again.
Alana, Dundee is a quaint community, mixing local charm with access to larger community amenities. Why do you continue to live in Dundee?
Well, first of all, my family is here. I moved here about 2.5, almost 3 years ago. I married into a family that's pretty well known in the area. The children have gone to Dundee since elementary, and my husband's children, and then our son will go once he's old enough. The schools, though, are great, and I do appreciate that we have a small town feel. We can put the baby in the stroller and walk to dinner if we want to. We're close to Ann Arbor and Toledo, but I do know that my family, my husband's family, established or came here from Madison Heights area many, many years ago because they liked that it was going to be a diverse town, close to the highways and things like that, but we still have that small town feel.
Mr. Bordine, Dundee is a quaint community, mixing local charm with access to larger community amenities. Why do you continue to live in Dundee?
Well, I graduated from Dundee High School in 1973, and 5 or 6 of my closest buddies are still living here now, and I think they probably feel the same way as I do. Go to a lot of Tiger ball games, go to Lions football, attend MIS, and you can always come back home to the nice, quiet, and safe community.
Mr. Schroeder, Dundee is a quaint community, mixing local charm with access to larger community amenities. Why do you continue to live in Dundee?
Well, being honest, it's really nice living a mile from where I work. It really helps out a whole lot. Gas prices are coming down, but it's still really nice. But the small town values, when we have something happen, people step in and they help one another. And you don't see that everywhere. And so that's a huge piece why we stay. They always say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village like Dundee to raise a child, not just any village. So I'm here because this village is helping me raise my family and giving us opportunities to grow as individuals. And I just see that it's an amazing thing that we don't want to lose.
Mr. Polito, Dundee is a quaint community, mixing local charm with access to larger community amenities. Why do you continue to live in Dundee?
I got you beat, Brian. I live 100 feet from where I work. I do. I live above the candle shop in downtown Dundee. I have a balcony view of the river. I've been accepted by this community since the day I moved back here. And I mean, where else do you get to drive the golf cart during the summer, water the flowers downtown, and listen to Journey? I say no more.
Penny, Dundee is a quaint community, mixing local charm with access to larger community amenities. Why do you continue to live in Dundee?
I like it because it's within a short drive to bigger towns, but yet you can come back into the small community and feel safe. Mainly it's because all of my friends and family are here because my whole life I've lived here and raised my family here. And it's the sense of community, like everyone was saying. And if someone needs to understand that better, all they have to do is look at pictures or videos from when the tornado happened in town and the way everyone came out and just helped each other. People that maybe hadn't spoken for months came out and helped each other. And I think it's, you know, it says a lot about this community, the way that everyone pulls together in time of need.
We'll start with Gordon Reed. If you are elected on November the 6th, what role will you choose to take in advocating future growth and culture in Dundee?
What role would I take to advocate future? Well, promotion, you know, is something that I talked about at the last forum. Definitely, you know, being a leader with promoting the beautiful, everything beautiful about Dundee. But also being a good teammate when it comes time to talk about future businesses, future residences, other amenities that may come our way, whether they're sought out or come to us, to just make the right decision after listening to what the citizens of this community want.
Alana, if you are elected on November the 6th, what role will you choose to take in advocating future growth and culture in Dundee?
My goal would be to listen to the residents and hear what they are looking for and wanting, and pass that information along to our village manager as well to hopefully all work together to coordinate some things that maybe Dundee is looking for from the residents.
Mr. Bordine, if you are elected on November 6th, what role will you choose to take in advocating future growth and culture in Dundee?
Well, I'd like to continue to fill our parks. We just bought a new one for $1 behind Old National and Huntington Bank. And then if I had to, I would walk to Grand Rapids to get Myers to come here to help out everybody in town. Everybody wants a Myers. I haven't heard of anybody yet said they don't want one. I just think it would help out. And then they would come use our parks and restaurants, and they probably would like it so much they would move here.
Mr. Schroeder, if you're elected on November the 6th, what role would you choose to take in advocating future growth and culture in Dundee?
Well, I would choose to take a very active role. We have to continue to promote Dundee in a very positive way. We need to explore and continue to explore the different activities we can bring here while continuing the ones that we already do here that continue to grow within our community. We need to listen and hear what the community would like to have brought here and try and bring some more of those things that might be outside the box that we haven't had here before, while also continuing the great things we do here.
Mr. Polito, if you're elected on November 6th, what role will you choose to take in advocating future growth and culture in Dundee?
I have to be very careful how I say this because I am already an appointed official. I am already involved with working very hard with DDA and DAVA. I don't want to sit here and make it sound like I wouldn't do anything different. I would continue to do what I do and continue to support the new ideas put forth by either the village or either of those two groups to continue, as I said earlier, I want to make Dundee a destination. I want people that can't wait to get in their car and come to Dundee for whatever it is, the activity, whatever. So I'm just going to continue to do what I've been doing.
Penny, if you're elected on November 6th, what role will you choose to take in advocating future growth and culture in Dundee?
I think that I would be very proactive in promoting growth because I think we need to bring businesses in to expand our tax base so that we can maintain the infrastructure we have without having to raise our taxes, which we have been very successful in the past several years. And as far as culture, I think that the festivals and the activities that we have are drawing in a lot of people, and I think that that is helping the culture in the village as well. So I think to continue promoting more of those.
Mr. Rohrbeck, if you're elected on November the 6th, what role will you choose to take in advocating future growth and culture in Dundee?
My biggest priority would be to try to get a nice restaurant over here in this building across from the river here and have like outside eatery area where you could have like a barbecue place. You sit out along the river and eat outside. That would bring in a place like when the Mayfly Festival comes, people could go there to eat and stuff. If you get the right contacts, I think it would work, and I'd like to pursue that.
Next question. Every community has a budget. Alana, what is your philosophy on balancing a budget?
Philosophy on balancing a budget would be to prioritize whether things are a need or a want. Also to explore options with the state for opportunities to have maybe some grants through the state as well to help budget or balance a budget if we do need things more so than what maybe the necessarily budget allows.
Mr. Bordine, every community has a budget. What is your philosophy on balancing a budget?
My philosophy is live within your means. That's the way I've continued my whole life, living within my means. Stayed out of trouble that way, and I think I would like to continue this with our village. Just live within our means. Don't do things that we don't need.
Mr. Schroeder, every community has a budget. What is your philosophy on balancing a budget?
Well, we have to make priorities. We have to establish what are our priorities, and then we need to always look at different ways we can increase revenue, whether it be through grants, whether it be through activities, whether it be through businesses that can come into the community. And we need to always monitor our expenditures, and we need to always have that balance and that ownership back to the community to let them know that the money is being spent well in the right ways, with the right priorities in mind.
Mr. Polito, every community has a budget. What is your philosophy on balancing a budget?
My philosophy on balancing a budget is this. You have to have a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new. And what I mean by that is if there are things that are old that need to be fixed, we need to do those before we do anything new. And I don't see that being a problem right now in our little village. But anyway, that's what I would say would be the most important, is to make sure we're taking care of what's now and then have an eye on the future.
Penny, every community has a budget. What is your philosophy on balancing a budget?
Well, we have a finance director that makes sure that we balance our budget in this village. And we've done very well by not having to raise taxes for several years. And the current council has also discussed planning, having meetings to plan ahead for major equipment purchases so that we can plan accordingly so we're not hit with major purchases and, have to dip into a fund balance to replace things.
Mr. Rohrbeck, every community has a budget. What is your philosophy on balancing a budget?
Watch where you're spending your money. Don't go and start projects that aren't necessary right now. We need to get our finances going good and put money into our water treatment plant. That's a big thing that's always there. We need to put money aside for that, save. And when people come wanting donations, we need, I don't know if it's done right now, but you need to set aside so much that you can allow for donations, and not just, well, they want $500, they want $1,000 here, and just give the money away. That is money that I figure, hopefully it's not like that now. And I say that it's already in the budget for that if it's happening. But we need to just not spend wildly.
Mr. Reeves, every community has a budget. What is your philosophy on balancing a budget?
I think it starts, first of all, with identifying the needs and wants. And then from that point, maybe prioritizing, looking at the short-term goal, the long-term goal, as well as the short-term effects and long-term effects, if things go up or down. Implement efficiently and have as minimal wastage as possible.
Mr. Bordine, next question. Let's say you're elected on November 6th. What would you want your legacy to be in terms of your commitment and contribution to the Dundee community?
I everybody has helped me growing up, and it's my turn to give back to the community. So all the things that everybody has always done for me, Mr. Sheldon or Mr. Powell, all the businesses and all the people that's always helped me and give me good advice, I would hope that somewhere I would touch somebody and be felt as a good person to give all the things that they've done for me in my lifetime. Many, many people. Whether it's just cleaning a driveway or a sidewalk, or helping somebody across the road, or helping somebody put groceries in. It's the small things. That's why we got the small town touch, because this is what we do. We don't need to be major accomplishments.
Mr. Schroeder, let's say you're elected on November the 6th. What would you want your legacy to be in terms of your commitment and contribution to Dundee?
I would want my legacy to be very simple. I would like people to just say, he selflessly served in a very, very productive way. I want people to be able to say that I've always put other people in front of my needs and served others before I served my needs. And it's the same thing I aspire to have at some point in time when I retire from Dundee Community Schools, that I always put the kids first and not my personal agendas or my personal needs first. And that's just how I live my life, and I would hope that my legacy would be I selflessly served in every capacity that I served.
Mr. Polito, let's say you're elected on November the 6th. What would you want your legacy to be in terms of your commitment and contribution to the Dundee community?
What I would want, and what I hope people see now, is that what I do comes from the heart. And I'm the kind of a guy that if you give me a responsibility and a task, I will do it. In fact, I will do it to the best of my ability. And that's what I do. And so that's how when it comes down to that, that's how I want to be known, is the guy that gets things done. That's all.
Penny, let's say you're elected on November the 6th. What would you want your legacy to be in terms of your commitment and your contribution to the Dundee community?
Well, I would hope that people would realize that even though sometimes difficult and unpopular or controversial decisions are made on various things, that I listened to what everyone had to say, and that I did what I thought was best for the community as a whole on every decision that I ever made.
Mr. Rohrback, let's say you're elected on November the 6th. What would you want your legacy to be in terms of your commitment and contribution to the Dundee community?
Well, my first time go around with being a council member, I was able to get parks with a water tower area. You know, just spent on donated concrete and got the basketball hoops up for the kids. That's great. This new park back at the Railroad Depot, I have big ideas for that, and I'd like to see that followed through. And there's so much you can do with that property for the community that everybody can enjoy year-round, and I'd like to see that done.
Mr. Reeves, if you're elected, let's say you're elected on November the 6th. What would you want your legacy to be in terms of your commitment and your contribution to the Dundee community?
The legacy that I'd like to leave, and my name is new around here, but I want the last name Reeves to stand for someone who's dependable, accountable, is a hard worker, and is involved. I make a little joke that says, everything that happens in Dundee is done by the same 12 people. And I'd just like to say that I'm one of those 12 people. So regardless if I get elected or not, I'm still going to do my good service for Dundee.
Alana, let's say you're elected on November the 6th. What would you want your legacy to be in terms of your commitment and contribution to the Dundee community?
I would like people to know me as being kind to others, to feel that they have been heard and that their concerns were communicated well to others. I also think it would be neat to have some sort of volunteer recognition. So there's a ton of volunteers in the community, and have some sort of either an event or maybe an award that the council gives out maybe once a year to a special volunteer. I think that would be neat.
We do have two questions. One that we feel cannot be asked because there are people that are running, candidates that are running that weren't involved with the event. So there is one more question. And this was asked by Ken Kopke. How can I trust council members will not use their position for personal or professional gain, accept favors or money for themselves, friends, or family members? Decisions will be based on what's best to the village and its residents. Mr. Schroeder.
All I can say is that it comes down to character and it comes down to integrity. And I like to live my life and say that I've lived my life with a high level of character and integrity. 14 years as an officer in the United States military, being in charge of the high school here for 11 years, seeing that place grow the way it has and Dundee Community Schools improve the way they have. That didn't happen without character and integrity of numerous people that are there. So I would just say to Mr. Kopka, I would say trust those until they give you a reason not to, because I very much look at trust as a very important thing, along with integrity and character.
Mr. Polito. How can I trust council use their position for personal or professional gain, accept favors or money for themselves, family, or friends of members? Decisions will be based on what is best for the village and its residents.
I mean, that's a good question, and it comes down to, and it dovetails off Brian, it is a matter of trust. You have to trust. You have to trust the officials that you elect. You have to trust the officials that are hired to do the job in this village. You have to do that until they prove otherwise. And, you know, I agree with Brian. I pride myself on my ability to be trusted. I always have and I always will. But that's my answer. You have to trust if you're casting a vote until proven wrong.
Penny, how can I trust council members will not use their position for personal or professional gain, accept favors or money for themselves, friends, or family members? Decisions will be based on what is best for the village and its residents.
I think that the only answer is the one that those two have already given, that it's based on character and trust. And I guess you have to know the people that you're voting for and know that you can trust them and that their character speaks for itself.
Mr. Rohrbeck, how can I trust council members will not use their position for personal or professional gain, accept favors or money for themselves, friends, or family members? Decisions will be based on what is best for the village and its residents.
I've been here my whole life, and I've always did the best thing for the village. I've had family here. They've done good things for the village. You gotta trust people. I've been here all my life. I ain't going nowhere. I'm not gonna do something bad that's gonna hurt somebody else. It's not gonna happen. Trust me. Thank you.
Mr. Reeves, how can I trust council members will not use their position for personal or professional gain, accept favors or money for themselves, friends, or family members? Decisions will be based on what is best for the village and its residents.
All right, well, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but everybody pretty much said it with trust. And you know, nobody's stupid. People's, you know, when they feel somebody's up to something, you know, they trust their first instinct, they usually are right. So I think when it comes down to people that are in service to others, with that service comes a bit of selflessness. And so you have to trust that they're doing the best thing for the community and leaving themselves out of the equation. Thank you.
Alana, how can I trust council members will not use their position for personal or professional gain, accept favors or money for themselves, their friends, or their family members? Decisions will be based on what is best for the village and its residents.
As everyone has said, integrity and trust, and I have to think too that we've all put some time and effort and thought and our heart and time away from family members to be here, and you really just have to look at it. It's in our best interest to do what's best for the community when we're giving of ourselves.
Mr. Bordine, how can I trust council members will not use their position for personal or professional gain, accept favors or money for themselves, their friends, or family members? Decisions will be based on what is best for the village and its residents.
Well, I've lived here all my life, and I'm retired the last 12 years. I'm not rich or poor. I don't want any friend or relative to get a job at the DPW or construction work here in town. I'm satisfied with it, and I don't need any money, and I wouldn't accept any money. I do it out of the character that I have, and I've lived here all my life, and I think the people that know me over the last 60 years will agree with that.
Well, that is it for all the questions I have. So we start with Mr. Polito. A real quick 60-second elevator pitch on why you should be voted in office on November 6th.
Certainly, thank you. First of all, thank you to all the people that showed up tonight. It's a lot more than last time. And thank you, Michelle, for moderating. I had the privilege of being appointed to council, again, due to the resignation of Jonathan Fitch a year ago, August. I feel like I've done a good job, and I feel like I've earned your trust, and I would like to continue to earn that trust for the period of a full 4-year term. So I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Penny, your elevator pitch.
I've been on the council currently this time 2 years as a council member and 2 years as the village president. And I feel like we have a good group of people. We're moving in the right direction. I would like to continue in that direction. I think my record speaks for itself as far as my character and integrity. And I would appreciate your vote on November 6th. And if you're not going to vote for me, at least get out there and vote.
Mr. Rohrbach, your elevator pitch on why you should be elected on November 6th.
I want nothing but good things to happen to Dundee and the people in it. This is a great place. It's going to continue to be a great place, and I want everybody to feel that way. It's just the way it is with me, and I don't know, I'd like to have your vote, and I want to do the best I can for the council and everybody. Thank you.
Mr. Reeves, your turn for your elevator pitch.
All right, well, I just want everybody to know that I am dependable, I'm accountable, I'm a hard worker. Regardless if I get this position or not, I'm still gonna work for Dundee. Basically, looking for your vote here, vote Reeves for Dundee trustee, and guarantee you won't be disappointed.
Alana, your elevator pitch.
So I feel that our community does need strong representatives to ensure that our finances are sound, that our roads are properly maintained, and that our police and fire personnel have the resources to support and keep our community safe. My experience with communication, I mentioned this before, with individuals of all walks of life, I think will be an asset, and balancing the budget, submitting state grants, all provide useful skills to being a village council member. So I appreciate your vote on November 6th as well.
Mr. Bordon, your elevator pitch.
I've lived here all my life. I love Dundee. I would never, ever think of living anywhere else. I've told many people when I worked in Monroe, if they give me a house for free, I would still live here in Dundee. That's how much I love it. And I love the people here in Dundee. I'll do the best that I can, and I listen to many, many people every day, and I will continue to listen, whether it's complaints or just getting your frustration out on me. I'm here to listen.
And Mr. Schroeder.
I'm just a guy with a high level of character. I bought in, I love this place. I have a high level of integrity. I know how to professionally speak up when appropriate, and I know how to listen to all at all times. Allow me to selflessly serve you. I appreciate every and anyone who supports me as I aspire to support you and listen and represent you in a positive fashion. Thank you.
And that's been your candidate forum. We want to thank the Village of Dundee for opening the doors and letting everyone learn a little bit about the candidates. And thank you for coming. Have a great evening.